The Knight? The Roaring Knight! Who the fuck is this? Ever since Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 came out, Gerson Boom has grabbed me by the nutsack. Oh! Even a month after the game has come out, I have not stopped thinking about it, and my Spotify Wrapped is going to look awful. Thank you, Tricky Tony. So while I sit here on a couch in a camper 2 hours away from home, I pose you a question. Who is the Knight? Yeah, crazy, I know. Nobody has ever asked that question. But there's an answer that I came to that I haven't seen yet. I don't really want to waste your time, so I'll try to explain this as quickly and concisely as I can. I think the Knight refers to multiple entities, and the Roaring Knight is simply one of them. To quickly explain that, the Roaring Knight does have antlers and has some form of connections to the holidays, also having Lost Girl in the Black Knife, but I do believe Des is the person trapped in the code, so I don't think that it can be her. So excluding the Roaring Knight for a second, I do believe the term of the Knight refers to at least 2 people, but it could be more. Those 2 people are Carol Holiday and Kris Dreamer. Starting with Kris, it's heavily implied that Kris is working with the Knight and Carol both in some way. When Tenna is explaining his divorce trauma to the Fun Gang, he mentions the appearance of the Knight, the Roaring Knight, and that he was told that if he kept those 3 busy, that he could have all the people watch him that he wants. However, when he's talking to Kris alone, he mentions that Kris is the one to tell him that. With that, I picture the Roaring Knight being there with Kris while Kris is telling Tenna to stall them. Trying to keep it short, that's why I think Kris can be referred to as the Knight. And Kris is also clearly working with Carol in some way, and I think Carol could be the person that took Undyne to the bunker. I do think there's room for more Knight candidates, more specifically Asgore, but for that I think we should wait until the totally definitely happening Chapter 5 Flower King Dark World. Trust me, Toby Fox told me himself it's happening. So we have at least 2 Knights, but I also don't think Carol is the Roaring Knight, and Kris clearly isn't, so who is the Roaring Knight? Well, my current thought following this is that the Roaring Knight is a Darkner. Not just any regular Darkner, but a Darkner made from an object that was intended to be a Darkner. So I picture something like this. Des goes missing, Kris is implied to be involved in some way, so Kris probably knew about Dark Worlds, and then Carol would find out about Dark Worlds via Kris, so then they would try to work together to bring Des back. Carol makes an object of some sort to go into Dark Worlds and find Des. Since it's an object made with the express purpose of finding Des and may have some of Des's belongings in it, like if it's a clay figure with Des's weed stash tucked inside it, I don't think it's too yoinky to say that could be why the Roaring Knight looks like Des. So in theory, if it is a figure of some sort, I would picture that it's intended to go in the Dark World, do what it's told, and then return, where Carol probably would pick it back up. To me, the Knight is just too glooby and brain dead to be a Lightener, so I think it has to be something with not really much of a will of its own. Anyway, say the line. Goodbye!